All right, so this fanfiction idea basically was voted on over on Patreon, and it kind of won by a large landslide. It kind of it didn't even get close. Like I left it on longer than I should have, even though I knew it was already done. So yeah, as always, if you guys would like to be part of those polls to affect videos here on YouTube as well as over there on Patreon, just hit the link in the description box below. Head on over to my Patreon, hit the first tier, that'll allow you access to do so. As of this recording, I just did my review of the latest episode of Daredevil Born Again, and I am going to be doing reviews of Andor. Yeah, I'm going to be doing reviews of Andor, and yeah. So if you want to check out those, hit the link in the description box below, head on my Patreon, hit the first tier, that'll allow you access to do so. Anyway, so as you can see from the title, it is an Amphibia creature from the Black Lagoon crossover. I was so excited that, Epic Universe is almost here. Technically it is, and we now have, ride footage out there of Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein Experiment. So it was just a whole list of Universal Monster crossovers with different properties. And this one won, like I said, by a landslide. So without further ado, let's get into the story. So the story begins in Amphibia. And essentially what it is that we are here somewhere nebulously in season. We are kind of in the early parts of season 2, where Sasha and the Toads are still trying to forge a more cohesive attack force, a better army. And essentially, they're talking to the other lords, and Sasha's just we're still trying to drum up a strong attack force for the Siege of Newtopia and all that. So what else do we have to do to prove that? And they're like, well, tell you what, she's like, we got, Grimes is wielding this hammer. I've got all of this. What more do we have to do? And one of the lords go, well, tell you what. One of our reconnaissance groups went missing in a swamp not too far from here, and we don't know what happened to them, but we have a lot of rumors about what was in that swamp. If you can go in there, if you can go in there and find our soldiers or what happened to them, we'll listen to you more. So Sasha and Grimes, along with some other Toads from these other lords on loan, they travel to this swamp, and Grimes is like, we should really consider not doing this. And Sasha's like, okay, why? And he's like, I've heard just tons and tons of stories about where we're going. And she's like, well, where are we going exactly? What is the name of this swamp anyway? And he goes, they call it the Black Lagoon. We in Toad Society have always heard stories of the Black Lagoon. It's an ancient swampland that our people have basically it is home to ancient demons. And she's like, demons, okay. And she's like, what it she's like, at this point she doesn't think it's a demon. It's probably some kind of maybe it's just a big snake or something. And he's like, Sasha, you don't. Grimes is like, Sasha, you do not understand. Whatever is in that swamp has been it's been called the Dragon's Child. It's been called It Who Walks. The thing that walks on land and sea. And she's like an amphibian. And he's like, not like us. It is not like us. It is something else. So Sasha's just like, all right, whatever. Grimesy, I've encountered storks. I have encountered horrors beyond my mortal comprehension, and I am your, I have still been your loyal lieutenant. Whatever is in this swamp, we will figure out. We'll find it and just cut its head off. How about that? So Grimes is just like, all right, fine, but I'm warning you, this. I have heard these stories, and there's always truth in legends. So as they travel deep into this swamp, they begin to see immediately something's wrong. Immediately they're like, you hear that? And they're like, no, I don't hear anything. And Sasha's like, exactly. No birds, no nothing. Usually that when you go into these kind of landscapes, like there's animal sounds everywhere, but here it's just quiet. It's like unnaturally quiet. So as they travel like deeper into this swamp, they are like always feel like something's watching them, and they're trying to find out what happened to this lost toad company. Like they're still trying to like figure out like what could have done this, and they eventually find like a boat in a small campsite, and it's all just been torn to shreds. Like something came through and just ripped it all apart, and they're like, they see claw marks, they see like swords and whatnot, and they're just like, what could have done, like there is no way, and at first Sasha's like, well, they probably got attacked by the newts or the frogs, like or maybe it was some animal, and he's like, no, this was way too like if it was some kind of animal, they would have left bodies. Something took the bodies with them, and so yeah, it's hard to tell like what this is, but they do see like footprints on the shore, and it goes back to the water. So they're like, well, we're gonna have to like look around, right? So Sasha like is the first to be like, all right, I'll go check in the water, and Grimes is like, no, you're not. Like that's not how this is gonna work. Like I need my lieutenant here. I'll go look. And she's like, no, I'm not scared of whatever the hell this is. So she immediately like goes underwater and like starts swimming around. And what's there? Like she only sees it for like a second, and she's just like, what the fuck? Goes back up, like gasping, and starts swimming frantically back to the shore. And he's like, what did you see? And she's like, I don't know. I really don't want to talk about it. So that night they make a camp. And they're just like the other soldiers are keeping guard, and Sasha's just like scanning like out in the darkness, like with a torchlight. And for a second, she sees like a figure looking at them, and immediately it's gone. And and she's just like, okay, you gotta get a grip. There's nothing out here that isn't like you're Sasha Waybright. You are the baddest bitch on the planet. You need to get your shit together. And then they start hearing screaming from one of the guards, and yeah. That guard gets horribly, just ripped to shreds. He just gets absolutely mangled. And they just hear like they're running towards him, and all they hear is him being like carried away until like splash, like he got dragged underwater. And it is just so they're just like, what the hell? Everyone just stay awake. Everyone just stay alert. Yeah. So now everyone's on edge. Like everyone is now legitimately terrified of what could come up from the water. Like what could come up from the water. And Sasha then talks about like asks Grimes like, hey, so this thing that's supposed to live here, do you know more about it? And he's like, yeah, when I was a soldier, when I just got my commission. And I was assigned to a company. Our garrison was sent to explore further into the swamp for colonization. We traveled into the Black Lagoon, and it was a garrison. It was a whole garrison, and we went in here to scout it, map it, and see if it was right for being. And in no less than 3 days, half the garrison was wiped out. Every night, they would whatever is in this swamp comes out of the darkness to take us away. And yeah, it's out there. I don't know what it is. I don't know how many there are. I just know they want us out. And when first daylight comes, we leave. And Sasha's like, no, we have to stay. And Grimes like, you don't have to be pretend to be brave. I know you're scared, Sasha. I'm terrified. I don't know what these things are, but I know they aren't of us. They aren't they aren't frogs. They aren't salamanders. They aren't newts. They aren't toads. And whatever they are not of us. And they will kill us all if we stay here. So eventually, um, Sasha does agree, and they do take like notes and recover like what they can of the old company, and proceed to just chalk it up to an animal attack. So they just proceed to leave. But as they're leaving, they see like Sasha just sees something like creeping over from like the shadows, just kind of watching them, and then goes back and then goes back under the water. So yeah, that's the end of the story. Yeah, it's not so much like a full-on like fast-paced crossover. It's more like we're making the Gill Man scary and kind of like the monster in the shadows. Yeah. So there you go, guys. That is the Amphibia Creature from the Black Lagoon crossover. Hope you all enjoyed this. Thank you all for voting on Patreon. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.